Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Chris here of LightandJoyDesigns, and today I wanted to do another crochet podcast with you. And the things that I'll be talking about today are the pattern that's coming, that just was released yesterday. I'm going to tell you about the Tunisian squares series that I just started with that pattern. I'm going to go over last week's pattern as well. And by the way, I'm streaming on both Instagram and YouTube. So I'm trying to do that together. So see how that goes. Let me know your feedback. And please say hi if you're out there. I see Conway Cindy. Hi, how are you? So then I'll be talking about last week's pattern, which is the Inspira cowl. It's a reversible crochet cowl. And then I'm going to talk about next week's pattern, and then something I'm excited to talk to you about today, which is crochet anxiety and perfection. Hi, Vanessa. So if you're watching today, do say hi, please. I'd love to hear from you and see where you're listening from. And if you're watching this, hi, Robin. If you're watching this from during the playback, when this is on playback, also say hi and let me know where you're watching from and how you landed here with me. So why don't we get started? This week, the pattern is the Tunisian waves square. And this is a pattern I have been wanting to share for a very long time. It's a 6-inch square, and it's the first square in a series called Tunisian Squares series. And hello. So the Tunisian Squares series is going to go on for several weeks, where I'm going to bring you a 6-inch Tunisian crochet square. And at the end of learning all these squares, I'm going to show you how to join them to make a blanket or a scarf, or I'm going to have a few other modular projects that you could use these for. So this one here is a 2-color Tunisian crochet square, and it looks like it might be hard, but it's actually pretty easy. The video that I released yesterday walks you through it step by step. The color here is this is a color changing yarn that I used, and so it gives that nice change of color in the background. You could certainly do it with just 2 solid colors. You could use a variegated yarn and a solid yarn. You know, there's a lot of different ways you could use this. So I'm excited about the Tunisian Squares series, and it'll allow me to teach you all these different Tunisian color stitch patterns. In Tunisian crochet, there are just like this unlimited ways of combining the different stitches, because in Tunisian crochet, the stitches can have a lot of different variety in terms of their look and the texture that they show and so on. So let me show you the one that we'll be doing next week, which is called, I'm just calling it the Tunisian tiles. So again, I use the same yarn. This is Lily's Sugar and Cream worsted weight cotton yarn, and it is the color changing one is Country Stripes. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah, thanks for that testimonial. The waves pattern is really easy to do. It looks hard, but it is easy. And this one is actually even easier, and that's coming out next week. There will be some other patterns coming up that I have. I can show you a preview of those. I've got this one here. It's called X's and O's. Really cute. And then this one doesn't, a lot of these stitch patterns in Tunisian crochet don't really have a name. So sometimes I just give them names. And like this one I call the Fancy Square, Tunisian Fancy Square. So this is kind of a lace square, would make a nice stitch pattern for you know, a shawl or a scarf or, you know, a lacy sweater, anything that you'd want to use that would be lacy. And it's actually pretty easy as well. So those ones will be coming up in the future, as well as many others. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe here and at my website so that you'll be alerted as these squares come out. And now I want to talk to you a little bit about last week's pattern. This is the Inspira crochet cowl. And it's really cool because of a bunch of things. Well, first of all, it was inspired by the knit version. And I learned about the knit version probably like, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And I've been just dying to make it in the crochet version. And I tried lots of different techniques. And finally, the front post double crochet technique was what allowed me to get that same look. But what's an advantage that the crochet version has over the knitted version is that the crochet version is reversible. So when you turn it inside out, you have these cool stripes. And I'll just show you, I have it in a few other colors as well. This is the one that I made in the tutorial. And this is it on the other side. This one I'm actually going to use to make into a sweater. And that will be an upcoming video as well, so that you'll be able to, if you make one of these, you'll be able to use this as the starting point, the yoke for a top-down sweater. So we'll be doing that together. It'll be kind of like a recipe tutorial where I will teach you how to measure your body and gauge and figure out how many stitches you need to make it just right for you. And then I have one other one here. Most of these were made using Lion brand Ferris wheel yarn, and I have links to all the different yarns that I used in the blog post, and I will link in the description below to you know, where you can find that blog post and where you can find all the information about the yarns that I used. I also used a Red Heart Roll With It melange and a Ferris wheel yarn, and also Lion Brand's Mandala Ombres. So, oh, and then the other thing is with this pattern is you can make just a small version. So you could make just a regular cowl. I haven't finished this one up yet, but you can just make it a small version too. You just stop before you get to the long part of it. And it does come in 2 sizes. Believe it or not, this is actually the small medium size. And then there's a large size. So if you want the neck opening to be bigger, there's that size as well. So let's see who's joined us here. I can say hi to Ocean Girl. Hello from New Mexico. Hi. And Robin. Thank you, Robin. Yes, those squares will look great, Vanessa, for a blanket. I agree. Hi, David Browning. Thank you all for saying hi. So the other thing that I wanted to cover with you today, I like to bring to you things that I have learned, because some of you may or may not know this, but I'm also a writer, and I have another website called lifelearningtoday.com. And on that website, I share things that I learn that help make my life better, and that maybe might help you with your life too. So I wanted to share with you today some thoughts I had about, hello, some thoughts that I had about crochet anxiety. So I don't know if you've ever experienced anxiety. I mean, I think this can come up a lot when you're, especially when you're starting a project. That first row that's really fiddly and it feels out of control, right? So I was thinking about that, and that anxiety that can come up with crochet, and that it stems from, that feeling of not having control. And then I started thinking about it, and thinking about how we're always striving for perfection in our crochet, but really we're striving for perfection in so many things in our life. And that striving for perfection, what we define in human terms as perfection, causes us a lot of suffering. And to me, this seeking of perfection is us trying to seek control of things in our life in order to alleviate that anxiety, which, of course, all of our anxiety is normal. It stems from being an animal, a human animal in the world trying to survive. So, but ultimately, when we are seeking perfection, what we really are seeking is that feeling of well-being. We want to relieve our anxiety. We want to feel good. We want to feel happy. And so what we always do is we're chasing after that human-based perfection, thinking that somehow when things are perfect, when our body is perfect, when our home is just right, the furniture lines up just right, and, when everything is just right, whether it's job, home, finances, relationships, right? Then I can allow myself to have those feelings of well-being. When things are perfect, then I can feel good. Then I will allow myself to feel good. And, we bring this into all the aspects of our life, including crochet, like if I can just crochet this perfectly, or if I just finish this project, I'm going to be so happy when I finish this project. I'm going to be so happy when I share this image on Instagram, But when we do that, what do? We want to make it look like perfect, get the perfect lighting, the perfect backdrop. This is why I have this thing here. I'm trying to create some kind of perfection, some kind of illusion of human-based perfection that, that I've got it all together. And the truth is, none of us really have it all together. Life is messy. And, the way we define perfection is in straight lines. But if you look out in nature, I look out my window and I see the trees and the grass and the leaves. I mean, it's all, nature is curvy lines. Nature is fractals on fractals. Nature is messiness. It's kind of a beautiful disorder. And that is so much more interesting than the straight lines that human-based perfection is always seeking. We want our furniture lined up. We want the photograph on Instagram to look perfect. We use filters to make ourselves look better. And why do we do that? Like, because maybe if I can control these things in my life, then I can relieve my anxiety. If things are under control, then I can allow myself to feel good, you know? And what do we do when things do line up? We, we have a moment where things line up, maybe our sports team wins. Oh, yay, the Patriots won. Or maybe you're watching from somewhere else, and or you get the job, or you get the spouse, or things go well. You get the A in school. But it's momentary, and then it's that feeling of well-being only lasts. Hi, Edwin. Only lasts until we start thinking about what could go wrong. What's next? What else is on my to-do list that I need to get done? So, so I don't know how much anxiety can be completely removed from the human animal experience, but I have noticed that it can be greatly reduced. And the way to do that is by not equating perfection in our life, or human-based perfection, with allowing ourselves permission to feel at ease and happy. When we grant ourselves permission to feel at peace, at ease right now, in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of our projects, in the middle of all of our struggles, if we can do that and be right here and now, then we can kind of train ourselves to do it, all the time. And, just a really easy way to do that is just taking little breaks where you just become quiet. If there's something that is bothering you, that you just sit with it, instead of going into what could go wrong, how bad could this get? This could get really bad. Instead of going into that, just be with whatever it is that's bothering us, and notice that right in this moment, here and now, we're really okay. Essentially, we're okay. John Kabat-Zinn, who is a meditation teacher, he has a really great quote, and he said, "As long as you're still breathing, there's way more right with you than there is wrong." So that's kind of a nice one to hold on to, I think. So I think it would be great if we kind of leave behind our notions of human perfection, what we think of as, what we define as perfection in human terms, and embrace the more natural state of perfection, which is kind of a organic, just outflowing of the world, and just allowing, accepting that the world is never going to be perfect. And taking a deep breath and accepting that and saying, it's okay. And appreciating that natural perfection is so much more interesting, has so much more beauty. I mean, can you imagine if you went down to the ocean and the waves were straight lines? Or, if trees just grew completely straight? And, the beauty of nature is that it is so interesting, that it is so varied. So it's only our definition of perfection that robs us from seeing the true perfection in this present moment. And if we can cultivate this practice daily, we can be at ease even in our most challenging moments. And from my experience, when life throws me challenges, when I take the time when I take the time to slow down and calmly examine them, I usually will see the message that life is trying to send me, which in my case is often slow down, be patient, everything's okay. Because I have a tendency to want to do more than the hours that I have in a day allow. So the feelings of well-ease, of joy, of happiness, of contentment, of peace, these are our natural state. That's how we're born. That's why everybody likes to be around babies, because they're in that natural state of just being. And it's only when we start putting conditions on top of our world, saying, oh, I need to look this way to look how society tells me I should look, or my house needs to look this way to be keeping up with my neighbors, or I need to be married by this time, or whatever those things that you believe you need to have in order to allow yourself to be happy. What if we just gave ourselves permission right now and in every moment to be at ease right now, even when it's messy, and especially when it's great, to just rest into that place of ease and happiness. So I want to invite you to recognize that things are perfect right now. The things that you think are not perfect are probably there for your growth. They probably hold messages and teachings for you. I have found that when I look for the good lessons in them, I do find them. And so the next time you have an imperfection in your life, what you would call an imperfection, whether that's in your crochet or in your life, I would say, see if you can just sit with it and think about it and ask yourself, why do I need this to be perfect? What is it I'm really seeking? And usually almost everything that we do in our life is seeking to feel at ease, to have that peace that we're actually born with. And the way that we can get back to that peace is by taking away all those rules that say this has to be in place before I will allow myself to be happy. Allow yourself to be happy right now. And happy doesn't have to mean, like jumping up and down, just kind of content, at ease, just allowing yourself to be at ease. And maybe if we do that, we can learn to love what we see as imperfections. If we can love the imperfections in a tree that make it so interesting, maybe we can learn to love those imperfections in ourselves and in our creative work. When there's an imperfection in your crochet blanket or whatever, that's part of you. That's okay. That happened. Maybe you just leave it there. And when you look at that, it reminds you to allow things that they don't have to be completely perfect. So all is perfect now. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. All those mistakes that you've made this morning, yesterday, in your past, those were not mistakes. They were your learning opportunities. All that mess, it's nature's perfection. So today I wish you peace and happiness and ease. And if you want, you can hold out your hand with me and you can write a note to yourself, a permission slip to yourself that you are allowed to be happy and at ease no matter what's going on. So I hope you have a great Sunday, and do check out those patterns, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.